Reboots suck. Or do they? Okay, so for the longest time, I have stood on a soapbox and have stated that reboots are the worst fucking thing ever, that they're the murder of souls, and they take shits on the originals, and so on and so forth. But after seeing The Force Awakens, I realized that I have been using the term reboot incorrectly all this time. Side note, this has nothing to do with reboots, but I'm getting over a cold flu, so if I sound like a Muppet, I apologize. Delicious. Now sit down, kiddies. Captain's gonna teach some stuff.
Captain's gotta teach stuff.
I'm just gonna say it. I don't think reboot means what we think it means. I think what we keep calling a reboot is actually a reimagining. So I will be so bold as to make up a new word, which I love to do, or coin the term reimagine. Because especially in film and television, even the definition of reboot is to restart something or revive. So by that understanding, The Force Awakens is a reboot and should be what Hollywood focuses on if they wanted to bring back an old iconic film. Ghostbusters, on the other hand, is a reimagine, where they want to take the name and idea of the Ghostbusters, change the lead cast completely, slide in some old characters for nostalgia's sake, and call it a day. Now this is where and why I am very, 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 very hard giggity on reimagines. Reimagines, in my opinion, say the following: hey, the original content you know and love is total shit, and I can make it way better with a less than average cast, a ton of CGI, a crap load of less practical effects, and God knows what else to make this film shine. A great comparison to this is, yes, Ninja Turtles. While I am a bit broken and torn by this franchise, I am still happy that kids are enjoying it and keeping the turtle power alive. But looking at the two, even as movie standards are concerned, the 2014 TMNT film had the largest budget of all Turtles films, but it still does not compare to the practical effects used in the original low-budget movie. I do understand that some reimagines are necessary and make sense in terms of wanting to target a younger audience or to continue the series. So all in all, reimagines aren't bad, it just comes down to how they're done, and that's where it can get a little tricky. So I'm gonna bring this back to Ghostbusters because it's honestly the best example of a film that does not need a reimagine. A reboot, I would be all for. I mean, okay, let's do a side-by-side comparison here. In The Force Awakens, we basically have a rebooting of the Star Wars franchise in which they use classic characters that everyone knows and loves to reintroduce a younger generation to possibly new characters that they've never seen that they can relate to and get behind. That was a lot to say for my mucusy self. Also, when you really break it down, Episode 7 is Episode 4, but I am totally okay with that because they use the retelling of a classic story to introduce new characters without saying, hey, the original sucked, so let's just redo the whole damn thing, or hey, the original characters were terrible, so let's replace them all. What I'm referring to with that last part is basically what's happening with Ghostbusters. Again, just my opinion. What I am saying is not law. This is YouTube. It's gonna be okay. You know I love you guys. It is a beloved franchise in our hearts and has had great runs and hasn't really died in pop culture history. What's more amazing about this franchise is that all the stories actually intermingle. The original film spawned a cartoon, but the cartoon, if you remember, was actually the real Ghostbusters. In one of the episodes, you see them go to the premiere of the Ghostbusters movie, and not only that, the first episode starts with a giant hole in the roof of the firehouse, and Janine went from looking exactly how she did in the movie to looking hot in the cartoon, which they then mimicked in the sequel. Then, many moons later, we got Extreme Ghostbusters, which again tried to reintroduce younger audiences to the franchise, and Egon basically served as a go-to aid. And way later, we got a, what was that? We got a retelling of the classic stories with a new storyline in the Ghostbusters video game. But again, they never just crapped on the idea. I honestly would be 100% okay with the film if they took the characters that they have now and made them a branch of the Ghostbusters, like if the police had precincts all over NYC. Yet all they are doing is riding the coattails of a brand that is so highly regarded and loved, knowing that it will yield ka-ching, ka-ching. In the case of Ghostbusters, you all really missed a massive opportunity to keep most fans happy and make Yes, a lot of money. If this film were to actually be made into a sequel, it would reignite the back catalog for many who may not have seen the originals. Also, you could inform people. Like, most folks don't know this, but the original Ghostbusters cartoon takes place right after the events of Ghostbusters the film. And last but super not least, it reintroduces the old cast while reintroducing a new one that will hopefully set sail on their own high sea adventures. Well, in this case, ghostly adventures. You know what else would have made me more on board with this film is if they made it a continuation of the series, and I know that those don't always work out, like in the case of Son of the Mask or Ace Ventura, Pet Detective Jr., but that was also due to lazy writing. In many cases, Hollywood could easily expand the universes and make the story that much richer. Making a sequel would still mean a new cast while still giving a nod to old characters. And Ghostbusters is not the only one to blame for this. I mean, you know how easy it would have been to continue RoboCop, but no, they had to give him a human hand and make him far less violent, cause you gotta get that PG-13 rating to bring in the kids, and ka-ching ka-ching once again at the box office. Whatever happened to predictability, the milkman, the paperboy, evening TV, no, whoops, that is the Full House theme song. Whatever happened to people wanting to make art? People who want to inspire young filmmakers to create new concepts. Instead, all we are really teaching people is, hey, why reinvent the wheel when the wheel we've been using 100 times over seems to work just fine? I mean, it has a couple holes in it and works about 2/3 of the time, but you know what? I like those odds. No! Hell no! As a filmmaker, I am so fucking sorry. I cannot sit idly by and watch this shit anymore. I can't. It's too I can't even speak. It's too aggravating. Hollywood, I challenge you. Grow a set and make something out of your comfort zone. Make something original. Make something, dare I say, that isn't already someone else's. Find true genius in a kid who has no name yet. Find something that some independent comic book company is working on that no one has thought to see. Take something you have not taken out in a while and work with it. And that something is not another classic 80s film. That something is originality. I'm Jenny Lorenzo, this is Geekgasm. Stay original and stay geeky, my friends.